This is Richard Fields with Report from the Fields. It's a truism among hardcore libertarians. I'm going to start that over again. Hardcore. This is Richard Fields with Report from the Fields. It's a truism among hardcore libertarians that voting for the lesser of two evils results in, well, evil. We just watched Republicans select arguably the most evil of the Republican contenders, Donald J. Trump, with 51% of the vote compared to distant second-place winner Ron DeSantis, who lagged by 30 points. Nikki Haley, who for different reasons is probably equally evil to Trump, came in third. Pundits speculate that a good chunk of her votes came from Democrats. Why would Democrats vote in a Republican primary, you ask? Well, because the Democratic Party bosses decided to skip the caucuses in favor of mail-in ballots in deference to the supporters of Joe Biden, who want to make sure that the first primary that counts is South Carolina, deemed friendly to Biden. So much for saving our democracy. Why is Trump evil? He's a loudmouth, nativist who opposes almost all immigration, despite the fact that his most recent wife and her extended family are all immigrants. His anti-immigration stance is a blatant populist appeal to white working-class voters who incorrectly blame their economic woes on competition from Mexican laborers. Trump extends his tribalist nativism to trade, opposing trade with any foreign country that he, in his ignorant opinion, considers unfair. In his first term, he appointed judges who ruled against abortion rights. Regardless of your opinion on abortion, striking down Roe v. Wade has made it much more difficult for Republicans to get elected in most of the country. And we must remember that the lockdowns and forced COVID vaccination edicts all started under Trump's watch. In the process, he presided over the biggest deficit spending and money printing binge in the history of the Republic up to his time. Forget about his amorality in dealing with women, his unwillingness to let go of an election that the Democrats stole fair and square, while his whiny complaints about how the media treats him. Trump is in a second term would do more harm to the economy, crippling nonsense in a second term than he did in his first term, which is saying a lot. He's evil. Biden is just a different flavor of evil. He's corrupt. He openly bragged about threatening to cut off aid to Ukraine unless a prosecutor going after the gas company Burisma was fired. Coincidentally, his son, Hunter, was on the board of Burisma. He's fully on board with implementing draconian policies to theoretically stop global warming and appease the climate-changing Malthusian hysterics. Full implementation of his policies have the potential of dragging the economy and indeed civilization itself into a grinding downward spiral. For all his posturing about saving democracy, he's the guy who refused Secret Service protection to the only significant primary competitor in the Democratic Party, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father and uncle were both assassinated. He's the guy who canceled the Iowa caucuses, see above, and is trying to stop the New Hampshire primary to make sure that the first primary contest is Biden-friendly South Carolina. He extended Trump's ludicrous and economically disastrous COVID lockdowns and vaccination mandates and the federal spending and money printing spree that went along with it. He directly interfered with peace negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, leading to the war, which Ukraine is losing, despite billions in munitions being provided by American taxpayers to Ukraine. If the report from the only credible reporter on the subject, Seymour Hersh, is to be believed, he is behind blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, a direct act of war against Russia. He's bombing the Houthis in Yemen without a declaration of war. And really, who knows if the brain behind these disastrous policies is Biden's or the former Obama staffers who are probably running the show from behind the scenes. Biden is pretty clearly senile and not in the early stages anymore. And like Trump, forget about his amorality, hair sniffing of little girls and showering with his teenage daughter. The guy is evil. So if both the Democratic and Republican candidates for president in 2024 are evil, what's a voter to do? One choice is to ignore our corrupt political system as much as possible. The problem is they don't ignore us. Another choice is to take a look at the winner of the Libertarian Iowa caucuses. That would be Chase Oliver, who won with a resounding 51% against 49% against 9 other candidates. Oliver is the former LP candidate for the U.S. Senate in Georgia. With a war chest of all of $7,790, he got enough votes to force Georgia's Senate election into a runoff in 2020. He ran on a slogan of armed and gay, appealing to both conservatives-leaning and liberal-leaning libertarians. Of course, all caucus and primary voting for LP candidates is non-binding. The actual LP candidate will be picked at convention the weekend of May 24th. But despite the internal dysfunction of the national LP, the ultimate LP candidate will most likely be good, not evil. Voting for good is always better than voting for evil. I'm Richard Fields with Report from the Fields. See you next week.